Welcome to the Untapped Synergy Podcast with your hosts, Michael and Tracy Warren. I'm your podcast producer, RJ Malik. Michael and Tracy, good to see you. How are the both of you doing?
We're doing great. No complaints.
Excellent. Okay. This is a follow-up to your first podcast where we got to know a little bit about the both of you. Now we're going to talk about what this podcast is going to be about. So let's start off with the name. How did you come up with this name?
Well, that was part of the fun start to this whole process. We literally took a couple weeks and went through just anything that popped up in our mind. We listened, we watched different things, we sat on our deck outside. I mean, we had blue sky as one of the options. There were some really fun, creative, and some very nerdy analytical names that we came up with. We had a list of probably about 50. Then we narrowed it down to 10, sent out a survey to just friends and family and asked for their feedback, which was pretty entertaining in itself, and then landed on synergy. It's just a word that provokes a lot of partnership and energy. And yeah, Mike, what else would you add?
Yeah, I mean, we knew we were going to get one shot at this because rebranding after starting a business is not so good. So we wanted to get this right from the start. And I think, like Tracy said, we're just trying to come up with a name that would create an image in a client's mind or anybody's mind when they think about synergy. And of course, synergy is when the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And we wanted them to envision us working with them in synergy as well as with their other professionals, their attorneys, their CPAs, but also envision us working together really well.
Okay. Then let's go to the company itself. What sparked the creation of Synergy Capital?
Yeah, it's I started in this industry 23 years ago, and I was an engineer before that, but I always just had a deep down desire to just have a business, to own a business. It's the American dream. And when I grew up, I was an Army kid. Then folks got divorced and I ended up in Mississippi in middle school, high school, and college. And during that entire time, we were very poor. And all I really had was just the hope of changing my station at some point through education and hard work. And um, back then, it was very obvious. I think today it is to the haves and have nots. We were firmly, as a family, in the have nots. And like I said, really the only way to really change that firmly and to really have a lot of control over your career, not all control, but a lot of control is if you start your own business. And so I learned early on when I started in this industry that the rules that were in place for the lowest common denominator at the company. And I most certainly was not the lowest common denominator at any company. Uh, I- and so that's something where we knew we could do it better, and we want to prove it.
Okay, you have a new company. You came up with a great name that you love. Describe the early days of Synergy in one word. I'm going to challenge you in one word. What would it be and why?
I'm going to create a one word, a hyphenated word, let's just say. I would say organized chaos.
Okay. Is that
Mike?
by accident or is that the way you like to operate?
No, I mean, I think that there's something to say about a little bit of anxiety in a project, a little bit of procrastination that really pushes and drives you to get that project done.
Sure.
But in the beginning, I mean, I was brand new in this industry. And so it was drinking from a water hose of learning how to do just a water hose, fire hose, any hose.
I think
Never drank out of a water hose. That's just a Gen X
Yes,
thing.
we did. No, and so it was just all of this new information, platforms, programs, systems. I mean, even all of the acronyms. And so it was chaotic, but there was something beautiful about it because Mike, being a veteran in this industry, knew a ton more. So he was able to direct myself and the others that were on our team to get what we need to get done.
okay. What is Synergy's mission? And now let's not do jargon. You're talking to me, and I'm not the brightest guy going. So, you can talk down. Just describe that for me, please.
Well, I had an answer queued up for the one word.
Oh, okay.
Go for it.
The
We can
one
go
word
back to
description.
that. We can go back to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe we can edit out this and go back to uh, having me come in after her. I think for me, it was liberty. It was freeing to be finally released from the confines of a huge multinational bank with all of its rules and the rules that we follow that are made by the SEC and the government. That hasn't changed at all. But the rules of a big company and the inability to market a brand or a unique way of doing things. To me, it was exciting to be free to do all of that and learn it as we went.
Okay, very good. All right, then let's get to Synergy's mission. Again, you're talking to me. I'm not the quickest and the brightest, so you can talk down to me. Explain what is Synergy's mission.
For it, Tracy.
I mean, I think it's a layered mission, but speaking to our private clients and our business owners, we truly now are one of them. We're a business owner. And so we can say that it might not be the same struggles, but similar struggles and similar triumphs and victories. And so the mission is to really just help individuals, help them meet their goals, help them live their one best life.
Yeah, I mean, in the truest sense, in our documents, the mission is to enrich the lives of the people that are around us, and that goes for our individual clients. It goes for the staff, the boards, and towns and special districts. It also goes for the citizenry who they represent and who they serve. And the mission that we have right now gives us a lot more leverage to enrich their lives.
Okay, so I guess we can then segue into impacting clients and communities around you. How do you do that?
First of all, I'd say as business owners, we have the ability to employ people now. And so we can hire, we can train, we can mentor, we can do it on our terms, we can do it the right way. And so that's a big impact on the people around us. We have a school here, Colorado State, and it graduates finance and marketing people all the time. And so we're very lucky to have them here and we're able to utilize their energy and then trade our knowledge and experience to them for that energy and a little bit of money as well. But so that's a big impact that we have. I think the other big one is like Tracy said, we're business owners now. We fully understand what it's like to be a business owner. So serving our business owner clients now, this gives us a lot more clarity as a business to do that. And then lastly, of course, just that impact that we have on the community. Reserve assets is something we specialize in doing for towns and special districts, managing those reserve assets. But that all starts with making sure that the governance is there, and are they managing those reserves the way that it was originally intended to be done? And so that creates a huge impact on the community.
I think also we get to choose the vendors. And so our compliance team is out of Denver. So we really are giving back, not even just employing individuals, but we're hiring tech companies, compliance that are local. And so it's keeping that money within the state or the town, as opposed to when you work for a huge corporation, they're going with pricing, they're going with maybe it's, the biggest vendor out there. So we get to choose and help provide jobs for those vendors we hire.
All right, can you give an example of how different it is to support a private client compared to supporting a town or a district?
Yeah, for sure. The process is completely different for helping individual clients. When we first meet with somebody as an individual or family, there's a lot of questions, just like with any process, but it's to it's for us to understand their vision for their future and how they want to get there. And then for us, it's to document all those different pieces, where they are now, how they can get to where they want to go, and then somehow display that to them and give them the financial picture and the confidence that not only can they do it, but we can help them do it. With a town or a special district, really it just starts at looking at those governance documents, and we call it a reaffirmation process where we're reaffirming that, hey, everything they're doing is defensible and will stand up long term. and either it will or it won't. And so we can actually go in as impartial professionals and let them know, hey, this is you're doing things the way your documents and previous boards voted for you to do things. And so that's the first step. And then if for some reason they're not, they can decide to reopen the conversation about how they should be doing it going forward with new information. So it's a little bit different process. I think Tracy also mentioned earlier that we actually go to board meetings for our clients as well. So and those are typically once a quarter that we'll go to those. Sometimes it'll be a little more often if there's something special going on, but that's way different. We'll typically meet with our private clients twice a year.
Okay. Early days. That's always a challenge and an interesting time. Looking back, can you share a funny or an unexpected moment when you were first starting to build Synergy?
Man, it seems like it was so long ago now. I think a funny moment, I remember the building that we're in, there's certain security elements. And so there's a key fob and there's an actual key. And something happened to where I'd forgotten the fob to get in the elevator. So I had to hike my butt up 11 flights and get into our office that way. So that was just it, maybe it was something the universe was telling me to, you need to get some blood flowing and make the hike. So that was funny. Something that's more unexpected, I think, was just how our clients accepted myself. I'd never been in this industry. I'd met a couple of them just because Mike was, friends with them for years, but the trust and the ability for them to just really accept me in the company and believe in me was inspiring.
Okay. All right. Mike?
Yeah, I think it was a crush of work at the start. We had to spring this on our clients by law and by rule with our previous employer, and so it was a lot of work, a lot of pressure, and we're right now in the room where a lot of this work was going on, and we're meeting with clients. And I do remember we one of our team members absolutely hit his exhaustion point and just was laying on the floor, and we got a picture of him. It's pretty funny. He's just at his limit, and this is a 23-year-old kid, so he's got energy to spare typically, but there was so much of a grind by getting this business going and getting things started, especially after having kept it a secret because we had to. It was just it kind of defines the pressure and the workload that we had. That picture.
I think it's what all of us felt like doing, but he's just the one that laid down, started rolling around and groaning, and we just loved it because it was so true to kind of that point in time of just a little bit of exhaustion.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. What makes your solutions creative or different from traditional firms, like when you're working with business owners and then when you're working with towns and districts?
I think the biggest thing is just we are business owners, so that is something that helps us understand them better. Another piece of it is when you're at a big firm in a multinational bank, every piece of software has to go through a process and be selected, and it's part of a long term contract. So if a new piece of software comes out, it doesn't matter. You're stuck with that as an employee of a big firm. When you're a fast cat like a small registered investment advisory firm like us, again, compared to the UBSs and the Wells Fargos of the world, um, if something better comes out, you owe it to your clients to use it for their benefit. And so we have that ability to do that. So what we put together is a stack of vendors and services and software and what we call Kaizen, the ability to just improve on everything that you just can't do at a big firm. You just can't do it.
Okay. Let's. I guess we can talk about something about what would be surprised. What would people who are dealing with you or listening to this would be surprised to learn about working with municipalities? Because I have to say, I've never really have talked to a firm that has dealt with municipalities. They usually have individual clients. So why don't you share with us?
Yeah, I can talk to that. One thing I've been struck with through the years is just how smart these people are that are in leadership. And I think about fire chiefs with a PhD. I think about other fire chiefs that are authors, in addition to being an attorney. These guys are coming in with just a world of knowledge and leadership training that was really surprising to me. These guys just aren't people that worked up the ladder. They did that too, but along the way, they've just increased their knowledge and their skill sets to the point where it's very surprising when I go in and meet these guys just how sharp they are and the way they run their board meetings. It's just encouraging. You know, you think government gets a really bad name about being inefficient. Anything the government does, it's inefficient, and maybe that's where it's federal government and not so much the local and state government. But the localities and the local governments that we work with, they're so good at what they do, and they're so organized. I learn something at every board meeting I attend.
Okay, then how do you develop the relationships, to make it feel more like a partnership than just a transactional, just business dealing? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I think the key is that we don't have a ton of accounts. We don't have a million clients, and that's very, very specific and very intentional. We don't work with just everyone. We don't want to work with everyone. We have very specialized niches, and we give everything we have to each individual that we have as a client. And so it's important that the fit works for both individuals. You shouldn't just, I mean, we want to really like and create a bond and a friendship with the, town, the district, the municipality, the finance director, the business owner. Um, just through the years, Mike has found a nice process.
And I'll just add to that too. We are very slow to commit to anything, and because we have limited time on this earth, but also business hours and energy. We're both introverts, so anything we invest into, we need to choose wisely. And boy, when we do invest in someone, in a relationship, in a new client, we're all in. And we haven't even fully decided what we're doing for New Year's tomorrow night. But when we do decide, we will be there.
Okay.
There's no backing out. We're all in.
I know what I'm doing. We're just my wife and I are just hanging out and watching TV, and we probably won't even see the new year. We were actually discussing that earlier today, we're trying to figure out when was the last time we saw the new year actually, and we couldn't remember. But anyway, that leads me into another question as far as Synergy Capital. Describe the personality of Synergy Capital, especially if it was a person. How would you tell me, I guess is the best way. What kind of personality do you think Synergy Capital exudes?
Boy, I can start with that. I know one thing is we're intense. We work hard and we play hard, but man, when we are clocked in mentally, we are just all in, full speed ahead. We work so hard, and we expect those that are on our team to do the same. And we have to temper that sometimes as well. But we're just like I said, when we're in, we're in, and uh, that's a big piece of it. What else would you say, Tracy?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know personality wise, my Myers Briggs and, all of those different, I guess, descriptions. But yeah, it's almost the personality of a captain and a leader and someone who is introverted and extroverted, has the right balance of professional, work life. I don't know. That's a hard one.
Okay. All right. Then moving on, again, I'm fascinated by the fact that you actually deal with towns and municipalities. Um, how did you get involved in that? Did you just reach out to them, or was it word of mouth? Someone came to them and said, "Hey, listen, you got to check out Mike and Tracy. They know what they're doing." How did that come about?
Yeah, as with a lot of things, it's to be know, and then it's what you know later. It better be what you know later,
Mm,
or you're not going to make it in this industry. But it was a relationship that we had with somebody who was in the role of a finance director for a town, and I'd say anytime you choose someone to work with you, you know that you're their first client, you're taking a little bit of a chance and you're trusting them with something. And licensing and all that was there, but the experience working with public money was not. And this was 14 or 15 years ago.
Oh,
So I was just merely an 8 or 7 or 8 year veteran at the time. So, and that just developed, and relationships just grow, and people talk when they're happy. They definitely talk when they're not happy too. But we were able to grow that part of our business.
I think another add to that too is we are the only Colorado based firm doing this. There are other competitors that we have, but they're national. They're not Colorado born, raised, and local like we are. And so we saw an opportunity there, beyond just helping, but just that corner of the market wasn't being covered. So we jumped on
And
that.
doing it as an independent firm now, being the only one in Colorado that's based here, it gives us an advantage because we understand Colorado better. We when a town works with us, they're working with the owners of the company,
okay.
and nobody's invested more than the owners of the company
Sure.
versus someone who's could be here this year, may not be next year. It's just hard to say, but that's a big advantage for us. We're also serving an area of public entities that is completely ignored by those big firms. And
Interesting.
it's very hard to believe that they would, but that's the case. You have to have a certain minimum to work with some of the bigger firms. So not only do you get a diminished, in my opinion, experience working with a big firm, they're not really interested in talking to you until you hit a certain level.
Okay. On this question, I'm going to start with you, Tracy, first. What is the best part about starting Synergy Capital for you personally?
I think it's just the ability to create and go after a vision. You know what I mean? It's not taking orders. It's not trying to meet some goal that the upper management team has sent down the chain. It's really creating that legacy. You know, we have three daughters, and the youngest is going to CU right now, and she's very interested in what we do. Which, when she told us that, we were a bit taken aback and shocked because that's been, a dream that one of the girls can come in and possibly succeed us in this business. Our middle daughter we just hired, and she's working part time, helping us out with different tasks and projects. So, yeah, it's just having that ownership and that control to manage the business and grow it as we wish.
Yeah, and our youngest at CU Boulder, she's studying statistics and data science. And as soon as she chose that, that's when the recruiting started in my mind.
Okay.
And so, because we are all about that when it comes to, I mean, you can't predict the future, but you can at least stack the deck in your favor a little bit by doing your work and looking at history and how it rhymes, and how we can predict a little bit of what's going to happen. And so, really happy about that. I also think she'd be very good at doing what we do later on down the line. But early on, I'm sure she could take some of our data analysis and really take it to the next level.
All right. What do you wish every Colorado town or district knew about their own financial potentials?
And I think they should know that when they have reserve assets that have built up, they should know that they're being managed the way they were intended to be managed. But also, they're not just a static account of money. These are working assets for the future of the district or the town. And what you do with those really matters down the road, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And leadership that takes and makes deliberate decisions on what to do with that based on what their governance has decided, they're going to reap the rewards for themselves and their careers, as well as the town or the district they represent.
Excellent. Tracy?
I mean, I think Mike said it very well. So I would just kind of piggyback on what he said, and change is hard. But if and when these towns and districts, or even, business owners, look into doing something different, it usually works out for the better. At least they're educated on what's out there. So yeah, I'd say that.
Okay, Mike, I'll go back to you on this one, and this is probably not an easy one as far as picking out one decision you made early on that you're really proud of. What is one that stands out for you?
Yeah, we when you're a business owner, you're making decisions all the time, and they have impact on your team, on your family, on your clients. I think for us, we have a good mix of public and private clients, and we love our private clients, and we'll continue to serve them until our last breath. When it came down to where are we going to focus all of our marketing attention now that we're able to market a company and a brand, and where are we going to throw our marketing dollars? We decided we were going to put most of that into public entities, managing public money. And I think that's the one I'm most proud of, primarily because it took guts to do it. Because, like we said, nobody's got the guts to do what we're doing because there isn't anybody out there doing that. And we were already in, so that helped, but there's a tall wall around municipalities and that level of trust. And once you start working with them and understanding them, then you can work with more. But until you're in, you're definitely out. And so we decided to, hey, let's go serve this underserved part of of our state, and let's do it well. Let's do it better than we could have done it back at a big firm. And I'm real proud of that decision that we made together.
Um, I think it would just be partnering with my husband to do this. There were many conversations about what does that look like. Obviously, our marriage is our number one priority, but it was a huge decision to come into this industry, to partner with my husband, to be a business owner, and that was all a decision that I'm glad I made.
Okay. I'm gonna just preface this and say I think this is a softball question I'm gonna throw at you as we're getting near the end. What keeps you, Mike? We'll go with you first. What keeps you motivated during challenging moments of building synergy? But I have to say, I can't imagine you never being motivated. You just seem so laser focused on this. But go ahead, answer that.
You know, I think back through my childhood, and I think I've already mentioned that, we just didn't have a whole lot. We had a lot of love. We had high standards for school and a lot of support. But when it came down to what this kid looked at that other kids had, there was not a whole lot of that. And um, so growing up in mostly in Mississippi, I've always had a vision of success and how I wanted it to look, and it's still there, and we're achieving it. It changes a little bit over time, but it's a mountain that I love climbing, and I'm not going to stop unless health or death takes me. But it's something that is always in the back of my mind. This level of success. I wouldn't quite call it a chip on my shoulder. I think I had that earlier when I was able to go to school and graduate and work as an engineer for several years. But now it's more about what's the legacy I'm going to leave, not
Hmm.
just for the family, but also for the community around us. And I'm just going to work my butt off to maximize that legacy.
Tracy, same question to you. What keeps you motivated?
I mean, I would mirror what Mike said, but it's little things too. So I have, a folder in my email of, just client responses to something that we help them achieve. Maybe it's from a friend or a family congratulating us on, a year or 2 years with our business. I'm very self motivated. I'm very hard on myself. I want to hit the goal and surpass it, whatever the goal might be, personal or professional. So I think that self motivation just transitions into our job and our work. And there's little things along the way. Mike motivates me all the time. Just seeing him work and seeing him be so passionate about what he does.
I can see that just in the brief conversations that I've had with the both of you. I can see how Mike can be a motivating person. And not even just energy, just the way he speaks and how he speaks, and you just can hear the seriousness and the dedication. And it's inspiring. As a person who also does a lot of work on my own, it's inspiring to see people like you start a business and to just throw yourself into it. I really enjoy talking with you. And I'm going to close this up with what message would you like to share with the people and communities who already are working with Synergy?
Yeah, I think the biggest message is just saying a simple thank you. Thank you for believing in us, for trusting us, for, possibly telling a neighbor or a friend about us. And everything we do is for them. And we love what we do and appreciate everyone who's working with us.
Yeah, just when someone works for us or works with us for the first time, it takes a level of trust, and that trust meter is not at 100%. And so there's a bit of we have to earn the rest of it, and we do that over time. And our long term clients trust us 100%. But early on, somebody's got to take a little bit of a chance, just because they don't know us as well as they're going to. And in every case, it's paid off. But I'm very thankful for that initial trust uh, from our clients.
Okay, very good. How can people get in touch with you? What's the contact information?
Well, we have a website, of course, and www.synergy-colorado.com. We're also on LinkedIn. You can see some ramblings on Twitter from time to time as well. But for the most part, we'll communicate digitally through this podcast, through shorts on LinkedIn and YouTube, and of course, our phone number is on the website as well.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you. And most importantly, thank you for listening to the Untapped Synergy podcast. We ask you to share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review because this actually helps others find the show. Again, thank you for listening. And for Tracy and Michael, I'm RJ Malik, and we'll see you at the next Untapped Synergy podcast. Thanks for listening to Untapped Synergy. For more episodes, insights, and tools to help you lead with confidence, be sure to follow the show and visit us at synergy-colorado.com. For personalized guidance or to start a conversation, give us a call at 970-837-3088. Keep leading boldly. We're here to support your next step. The information presented in this podcast is the opinion of Synergy Capital and does not reflect the view of any other person or entity. The information provided is believed to be from reliable sources, but no liability is accepted for any inaccuracies. This is for information purposes and should not be construed as an investment recommendation. Past performance is no guarantee of future performance. You should consult your tax and/or legal advisors before implementing any transactions and/or strategies concerning your finances. Synergy Capital is an investment advisor registered with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission.